sales. There we go. I'm live on YouTube now. Okay, so where are you from? And YouTube, my audience is predominantly on TikTok, so I'm always looking up that way. Where are you from? I'm in Vancouver, Canada. Gorgeous sunny day today. Yorkshire, UK. Oh, hello, Yorkshire. Remember the first time I saw that, I called it Yorkshire. It's Yorkshire, right? I got protein powder on my nose. Is that just shiny? What is that? Looks like, oh, it's on the phone. I think so. I'm gonna go check. It looks, I just did a protein shake, just a sec. Yep, I had protein powder on my nose. Just made up a whole bunch new protein shakes. Okay, Washington State. Hi, neighbor. Romania, Alabama. Okay. So where are you from? I'm in Vancouver here. It's very hot. Richmond, Virginia. Hello, Brianna. Pennsylvania. Always fascinated to hear where people are from. Toronto. I haven't been there since I was a kid. I haven't been back east since I was a kid. Romania. Are you another Romania? What was there? Yeah, 2 Romanias. Excellent. Romanias. 2 Romania. From England. Hello. Ruby. I had an aunt, Ruby. And her sister was Myrtle. You sometimes hear Rubies, but Myrtle is not a common name. So my dad's 2 sisters were Ruby and Myrtle. Myrtle. Another Romania. Is that 3 Romania? Wow. Lithuania. Hello. Oh, it's fascinating. Look where you people are from all over the world. Finland. Hi, Finland. Oh, Dot, you're from Finland. Oh, okay. Okay, while we're, well, actually we're done now because I've gone through a whole minute now. So, oh, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. If you go on my link above, you can see everything I've got to offer. I've got my free behavior board. You can buy one of my courses, or you can hire me for one-on-one coaching. That's up to you. It's free, right up to coaching. The course, I have mini courses for toddlers, and then I have a course for 3 to 12-year-olds, how to get respect in 5 weeks. I'll have more courses coming down the road. I'm just kind of busy. So, okay, parenting questions. Sorry, gee, I look horrible today. I just had a really rough gym day. I pushed myself at the gym, and I go every day. So if I push myself the next day, I usually go easier. Okay, parenting questions. Even holding my arm up to look at your questions hurts. You know, you get older, you have to work, when I'm in my 60s now, I have to work twice as hard to look half as good, but that's okay. I'm just grateful I can still work out. So parenting questions, just waiting here. There we go. Okay. What to do when a 12-month-old throws food on the floor? You pick it up and then you hand feed them after that. They'll eventually learn. If they start throwing, you hand feed them. They don't want to be hand fed. So yeah. I don't know Mrs. Rachel. By the way, I don't critique other people who are teaching parenting, if that's what you're talking about. I've never read a book on parenting. I've never read a book on children. Everything I know is from hands-on experience with kids. Okay, so I don't critique other people at all. I have a lot of ideas about what I hate that's out there that I have to fix up all the time, but I don't know anybody who teaches it. I'm very careful about that. I stay in my lane. I'm not comfortable critiquing. I was asked to do a panel. I won't say what show. It was a big show. I was asked to do a panel with different parenting experts, and I'm not going to sit and critique other people. I would be very uncomfortable doing that. So yeah, would not have worked. What to do if I suspect my teen is smoking? Well, I don't know your relationship with your teenager. You never address teen issues without building your relationship up first. Does that make sense? With little children, you discipline first to get respect. And with teenagers, you got to get respect before you discipline or discuss those issues. So you got to work on the relationship before you really can effectively address that. Yeah, if you want my help, teenage stuff's almost always coaching. It's in the link above if you're interested. Okay. 5-year-old boys just started spitting. Must have seen that done and thought it was really cool. I tried spitting once when I was a kid, dribbled all down. Anyway, so that's not about me. Anyway, I would put no spitting on the behavior board. It's free. The behavior board's free in my link above there, and put no spitting. And every time you catch them spitting, there's a consequence. How do you stop a 1-year-old to stop shrieking? You don't. Yeah, they're just going to do it. They're going to get bored with it if it doesn't get any attention. If you never reward that with attention or giving them something that they like, they just stop doing it. It's a stage. Everything with toddlers and babies, it's just very quick stage. It will fly by so fast you won't believe it. My babies now are 33 and 28. So it just flew. Next thing I knew, they were moving out. And, it's just awful. I love parenting. Okay. Oh, how sweet, Teresa Maj. Thanks so much. Not a question, but I literally tell everyone I meet with kids about you. Thanks so much for that. I really appreciate the support. I hit over 550,000 on Sunday. I hit 550,000. That's a big. I never expected this at all. My business was based on referrals and like doctors and psychologists and that would refer, and schools would refer me. That was my basis, and I dealt with a lot of crisis work. And then I went on TikTok and just blew up overnight, and my whole business changed because now it's not so much crisis work. I still do it, but that's not what I built my business. I built my business on that, but now it's all changed. And it's kind of where I always wanted it to be. What I mean by that, I don't want to be doing repair work all the time. I'd rather prevent the problem in the first place. So I'm doing more of that now. This was always kind of my dream, to do prevention work, but no one was listening to me. So they wanted the crisis work, right? So, because not many people do it, especially because I specialize in teenagers. It's a niche. So I still do it, but it's not what I lead with anymore. So yeah, thanks so much for your support on TikTok. It is extremely appreciated and not taken for granted at all. Okay. Someone said to me a while back, they said, "Oh my God, you're an overnight success." I've been in business for 17 years doing this. 17 years overnight, and I'm not raking in millions. TikTok doesn't pay at all. Like I think with gifts, which I always appreciate, but I think I'm up to about $200 in 18 months now. So yeah, it's I'm on here because I am helping people. Do you know how exciting that is to be able to help so many people? Every single day I'm on here. Do you know how good that feels? Imagine if people told you every single day, "Thank you for helping me." What would your life be like? Would that change your life? If every single day people said, "Thank you for helping me." Every single day I get that. So it's very selfish, actually. Like it just feels phenomenal to be able to help people. What a gift. Not that I have a gift, but I mean, what a gift to be able to get that. Anyway, okay. Okay, you're not going to like my answer. Well, you might already know it. It's for Jalisa. At what age is bedwetting not appropriate, and how would you deal with that? Bedwetting, I treat like a bodily function. I do not discipline that. I'm very careful how I approach that. Some kids will wet their bed right through the teen years. It has to do with their bladder or their brain. I'm not sure which. Doctors don't really know 100%. So there's all sorts of things you can do. You get them to stop and start. Once they've started peeing, you get them to stop. And then also you don't let them have any liquids 90 minutes before they go to bed. You might even want to wake them up in the middle of the night to go pee. They'll usually do a sleep pee, like they'll just be asleep. I've done that with kids I've looked after. And so I don't even think I woke up. But I know I got them up to go pee. They never woke up for sure. So the sleep pee. Turn on the tap too if they're asleep. When you turn on the tap, they pee. But yeah, it could last. I don't know what's causing it. I would, potentially see a doctor depending on the age. See, okay, they're just a bedwetter. They've got, their bladder just hasn't developed fully. It's a genetic thing, evidently. So yeah, but never shame them. Never get them to clean up after themselves ever. You want to have no shame attached to that whatsoever. You could mess them up. So yeah, I'm pregnant right now. I don't really have a question, but do you have any advice for the start? Absolutely. I would say for about the first 3 months, all I would focus on is mom and baby happy and healthy. Forget about everything else. Forget about what people want from you. We want you to come out here, want you to do that. Can we come over? Just say, no, I'm just focused on me and my baby right now. That's the best advice I can give you. Yeah, just happy and healthy. Housework, cooking, forget it. Whatever you want to do. I love cleaning. That was my thing. So it was relaxation for me. But if you don't like cleaning, don't do it. unless you have to, right? But yeah, just, and don't, oh, by the way, do not look at those pretty perfect moms on social media. Do not look at them. They're lovely. That's not reality. Look up mom fails, new mom messes, new mom accidents. Look up all that stuff. You'll end up somewhere, guaranteed you'll end up somewhere your whole top is leaking. Wear light colored clothes, by the way. You'll be all leaky in the front. I ended up going to lunch with friends with baby poop on my forehead once. Look for funny mom fails. That'll make you feel better about parenting. That's the reality. Life is messy. Parenting's messy. Life is, laugh at it. Let's just go with it. And you're going to be crying sometimes because you'll be so tired and your nipples will be bleeding from trying to breastfeed. I mean, it's all part of it. But it's wonderful, but it's it's messy. Caught you live for the first time ever. Oh, welcome. Thanks very much for joining. Okay, I'm on here every day. Do you have any advice on trying to conceive after being on birth control for 3 years? Well, they know what causes pregnancy. I can't comment on that. I'm not a doctor. I stay in my lane. I'm very careful about that. I teach parent-child relationships. But yeah, I don't have any advice. Although I do know how to conceive a girl if you know when you're ovulating. Look it up. I was in Australia and a doctor said he'd been around forever. I was one of the last babies he delivered. He was head of all the baby delivery doctors and everything. And he said, yeah, you can conceive a girl if you know when you're ovulating. So that's the only thing a doctor ever told me for sure. And I conceived a girl. I already had a boy, so I wanted a girl. So, but yeah, he told me exactly how to do it. Interesting, eh? So look that up if you're interested. Don't come at me like you should never pick the sex. I already had a boy. I wanted a girl. What was I saying the other day? I got some flack on, my first grandchild's due in December, and it's my son's girlfriend. And they've been trying for a while, and she's expecting. And so I said, look, I would love to be in the delivery room. If you don't mind me being there, invite me. If you don't want me in there, don't have me in there. Plus, if I'm in there and you want to get rid of me, tell me to get lost, and I'll stay up at the head. Whatever you want. It's all about her. It has nothing to do with my son or me or anybody else. That mom pushing a baby out, I always said you push a football out through your crotch. It's all about you. So whatever she wants. I would love to be there, but it's not the end of the world if I'm not at all. It's all up to her. But yeah, don't let other people tell you what to do. Take control of all that stuff. You do what you want to do. And if you want to have an epidural or a C-section or whatever you do, don't let people tell you what to do. Everyone will come in with an opinion. I always say, you do what you want to do. That's up to you. Your choice. I'll support you no matter what you want to do. That's all on you. Your choice. Okay, I think you're awesome. I was only just telling my friend about you today. Oh, how sweet. Thank you very much, Don. I appreciate the support. Okay, Maria, what do I do when my 3-year-old has a tantrum and we're leaving for the car and having an infant too? You can leave a little bit earlier. Never leave when you're in a rush. Get the infant in first, okay? And make sure they're somewhere safe. You don't put them in the car down the road and then go back and get the other one. So then when the 3-year-old's having a tantrum, just pick them up and put them in there. Like I never let my son had tantrums, my daughter never did, but I never let his tantrums delay me. Like what I meant is if I had to get somewhere, we're getting him in the car, unless he was bigger than me, my back, I used to have a bad back, so if it was really bothering me, I couldn't do this. But if not, I would put him in the car, he'd be completely arched back, and I would put my hand right here on his belly, and I'd just wait till he takes a breath, and then bang, he's in, snap, snap, and he's in. So I would physically overpower him basically to get him in the car. But he learned. He only did that maybe a couple times with me. He learned. It's like, oh, mom's in charge. How do you do tantrums in public? Exactly the same way I do them in private, because I am the exact same mother wherever I am. 100%, my kids knew exactly what was going to happen if I was in charge. 100%. So I was never a different mother when we were out. I was proud of how I dealt with kids. And I'll tell you a story. My son was 3. It was his second to last tantrum, I think. And we were walking through a very busy, loud mall. I wouldn't do this if it was a quiet restaurant. I would take him out in the parking lot. I don't want to disturb other people. Anyway, busy, loud mall. He tantrums. No reason. Just, I think a little piece of lint probably floated past him. Who knows why. He didn't have a lot of them, but when he had them, he was good at it. So anyway, he starts having a tantrum. We weren't even talking, nothing. So anyway, I pulled him off to the side because it was sort of near stairs. And then I just pulled out my nail file and started filing my nails, completely ignored him. And I'm just waiting. And so all these young moms were going by and they, oh, you should give him a hug. Talk about his feelings. I'm like, oh, God, go kick a weed somewhere. Like, just get lost. Like, I had no, whatever. Okay, fine. Because they had no experience. They had just tiny experience. When you've only got little kids, you can't tell me what to do. Anyway, so the other moms who, and I had tons of experience with kids, the other moms who had older kids and the grandmother age women were coming up to me, good on you, you know what you're doing. That's who you listen to, the experienced moms. But yeah, you just ignore tantrums in public too. Sure enough, he gets up because he didn't last that long because he knew mom didn't put up with that crap. Didn't get him any attention at all. So he gets up and he's finished. And I said, oh, you all done? Okay, let's go. I don't discuss tantrums before, during, or after. There is no point, zero, zilch, no point in discussing a tantrum. If you can come up with a good point, you let me know. Good luck with that, though. I've been doing this for 51 years. I've been dealing with tantrums. Not once have I ever given it any attention. Not once, not ever. Okay, I got a good story here. Miss C. My mom thinks my 3-year-old needs speech therapy because she can't say L and R words. Thoughts? I don't have an opinion on that because I'm not a doctor. But I'll tell you what I did with my daughter. She was in grade 1 and she could not say, oh, clock. She could not put she would go clock. She couldn't put a C and an L together. I thought it was adorable. But the teacher said, well, you might want to get that addressed. It's one of those things like, I thought, okay, fine. I took her to a speech therapist twice and we remedied it, but I kind of regretted it because she would have eventually learned how to say it. That was just my own personal experience. I'm not giving you any advice on that, but yeah, she couldn't put the clock together. She would go kalaka. She just couldn't do it. So, and I thought it was so cute, but anyway, I did do that. And, I just said, oh, well, what's the harm? Like, it wasn't like a big deal to me. But anyway, so yeah, we solved it. I think it was 2 sessions. Should I keep ignoring my toddler when he when he starts shoving things in his mouth for attention? Well, no, that's kind of when they go into that aggressive, silly zone where you want to prevent anything harmful, harming themselves, harming other people, harming property. You physically restrain them if they're doing stuff like that. So yeah, that's. Oh, I see. What you're saying is start shoving. So he's not having a tantrum. He just starts shoving stuff in his mouth for attention. Whenever he's just put in his mouth, take it away and make sure there's consistent corrective action. So you take that away and then take something fun away. You say no and then move it away. Don't make a big deal out of it. Just be consistent with it. They don't learn through words. They learn through actions because they learn through repetition. Their brain functions differently. I just did a video. I thought it was really funny. Kids aren't crazy. They're just not sane yet, which I always say toddlers. I always say toddlers are crazy. What I really mean is they're just not sane yet. They just haven't formed. They have no sanity because they have no experience with the world yet. So they're going to do stuff. So just it's up to you to sort of prevent them from harming themselves. But yeah, they don't make any sense. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to argue with this one. Destiny King. I notice when people baby talk to their toddler, their speech is definitely delayed. I have not found that. You may be right, but I have not found that. Okay. You asked this yesterday, Jessica, didn't you? How to get a 2-year-old to walk along with you. She hates holding my hand. Wasn't that exactly the same question as yesterday? Or someone else asked it maybe. But yeah, if they won't, then just put them on a leash. Or what's a 2-year-old not doing in a stroller or a shopping cart? Like my kids at 2, they were in strollers everywhere. They weren't walking beside me. Or if they were, then they'd end up in a shopping cart. Or no, they just weren't. We went to the park and the beach and all that. Yeah, they were free. But if we were doing stuff, we had to go somewhere. They were in wheels. I had them in something wheeling. So yeah, I don't know why they're walking beside you. Do you have to go somewhere? Like if you're somewhere, sorry, I live downtown. If you're somewhere where you have to get somewhere, my kids would not be walking at 2. They would be in a stroller. How do you deal with older children that run away? Put them on a leash, a harness, a restraint. Absolutely, 100%. It's like if they run, you let them, you just have them free, but have the harness on them. So they're free, but because they're runners. And then as soon as they start to run, say no and clip like that. Clip them in fast. and say no. And then for the rest of that outing, you keep them clipped on. They'll learn. Like from the car to the store. So you don't have the shopping cart going out to the store, to the car to the store, and then you put it. Well, I would carry them. Yeah, I didn't expect them to be able to walk beside me. If I'm doing chores and running errands, I'm like a rocket ship. I race along. My kids could never have kept up to me. They actually hated it once they weren't in wheels because it was hard to keep up to mom. I remember them running. We still laugh at that. And now they're both, they're 33 and 28. They're both, I can keep up, but my son, I have to run like a little toddler to keep up to him. Yeah, he's tall with really long legs. Okay. How do I deal with my 11-year-old who gives me attitude and says I constantly punish him? You got to work on that. You got to work on your leadership skills. They don't talk like that unless you're not a leader. He doesn't respect you. You got to work on your leadership skills. I do have a course that goes from 3 to 12 years old, and it teaches you how to get respect. It's 5 weeks. Anyway, it's up above in the link if you're interested. That'll teach you how to get respect. Otherwise, look at my behavior board. It won't teach you everything you need to know, but it's free. You might want to check that out. Or if you want to go that extra level, you can hire me for coaching, and I'll teach you how to get respect. Yeah, you go oral answered go oral go anyway. Oh, those are eyes, are they? Anyway, you just answered Jessica's question. Yeah, it does work. They do learn how to walk beside you, but it takes time. There's nothing wrong with toddlers. It's your expectation of them that's out of whack. That's why I keep talking about how crazy they are. You just expect too much from them. You're having these mini therapy sessions with them. You're trying to reason with them. It's very patronizing and not fair to them. Playing, won't sit while eating. Well, just a sec here. I'm going to write that down. One of my courses I've got coming up is going to be on mealtime battles. There's a whole system around that. I need to know the age and all that stuff. But, my kids, the rule was, there was no food or anything around the house. You want to eat, you sit at the kitchen table. There was no, if they got up, the food was put away. I mean, that was just, they never even questioned it because they didn't know any different. So, but then we'd have friends over and their kids would try and take something gooey and gross and literally walk around my house with it. I was horrified. Then I'd end up with peanut butter and chocolate on my curtains. And what's the point? Why would you even allow that? Like, I just don't get it. So yeah, they just learn if they only get fed when they're sitting and being quiet, or not quiet at all. You can be as loud as you want. They have to sit and not keep getting up. And they never eat. There's a whole system around that, though. I'll get into that in more detail. I don't really want to go into the whole system just on here because it'll be in a course soon. It'll be one of my mini courses. Okay, 19-month-old aggressive. Yeah, I have a whole course on that too. One of my mini toddler courses, if you're interested, is consistent corrective actions because they learn through repetition. Yeah, just make sure that there's something corrective every single time. Yeah, it's all in the course. Well, you're asking me something unreasonable. What to do if your kids pick up on bad words by their father because he speaks like a sailor? Well, then how can you expect the kids not to? Because they're watching you and they're learning from you. So you're asking me something unreasonable. Because I say you've got to give respect and you don't talk like a sailor if you're respecting your children. You don't want them to say that. So yeah, you're asking me the unreasonable there. It's like saying, how do I stop? My kids want to smoke. How do I stop them from smoking? It's like that. What do you want me to do? They're watching you. That just makes so much sense. Expectations of toddlers. Absolutely. Absolutely. They're adorable. They're all feet, no brains. They're one marble and some tumbleweed. Cute as a button. But they're not there yet. They're just forming. Okay. How much are your courses? The big one, 5 weeks to get respect, is $197. The little toddler ones are $29 each. All the courses are in the link above. There's a link up above there. Link in bio. Thank you, Kim. Yeah, everything I've got to offer is in there. You can go to my website if you want, but there's really not much on there. I deleted almost everything on my website. I was bored with it. I've been doing this for 17 years. A lot of it was 17 years old, and it's just, I thought, snore. It was just, and I don't like updating it. I'd rather be on here talking to you. I can either do this or I can work on blogs and my, my website. Nah, I don't want to do that. I like to keep it all short but sweet, right to the point. That link points you to everything I've got to offer, free and not free. Okay. Okay. Carrie, you're going to love me. My sister-in-law tells her 3-year-old, you know better, drives me nuts. No, he doesn't. He does know better, but he chooses not to do it. By saying you know better, you're insulting him. You're absolutely right. It's very patronizing, very condescending. Like, you know better, you shouldn't be doing that. That would be like saying to an adult who just got caught speeding or something, well, you know better. It's like that. It's very patronizing. Yeah, I hate that kind of stuff. You know I do. Okay. Um, how do I answer this? I know exactly what I'd say if you hired me coaching. Do I go for it or not? Let me think here. Just a sec. How many people have I got? 90. Okay, I'm going to read it. Life with toddlers. I can't ignore my son's tantrums because he turns blue unless I acknowledge it. He's going on 3. I don't want to answer that one because it could potentially be a medical issue. Yeah, I don't want to answer that one. But you can probably guess what I'm going to say. But if you've been here before, anyone who knows me would know exactly what I would say. I just don't want to say it. Um, 16-month-old triplets. Yeah, I've actually worked with triplets. Tantrums started already. Any tips? No, no tips. Just treat them all as individuals. Even though they're a group, treat them all as individuals. And if they all tantrum at the same time, ignore them all. They're probably going to start hitting each other too. So yeah, keep them separate and tantruming. I would almost even, I don't want to go on about it because I don't know how your house is set up, but I set up systems when you've got multiples. We set up systems on how to separate them if they're fighting, how to separate them if they're tantruming and hit while tantruming each other. So, but yeah, you've got to the best advice I can give you with triplets, and you already know this anyway, is systems. Keep records, have a whiteboard of stuff, stuff you're operating. You got to have systems in place. 2-year-old will not leave outlets alone. Plugs don't work. You're just going to have to put big furniture in front of it. You're just going to have to. And put bells, or else put something in front of it and put a bell on it so that you can hear them getting into it. And then you just say no. And only one word. Don't talk about electricity and electrocution. They're not listening to you anyway. But yeah, just put big heavy furniture in front of it, stuff that you can hear them when they move it. And there are plugs that will work, by the way. There are plugs. Someone just said the other day, I didn't know it was made for this, but I do know there are advanced locks, childproof locks. Someone said they're made for children with autism who might be 8 or 9 years old and they don't know enough not to get into stuff. So they're made for children. I thought that was interesting. So look that up. There are better safety devices for older kids. Advice on naps. 4-year-old naps great. 2.5-year-old fights them, only naps 2 days, maybe a week. Both my kids stopped napping at 12 months old. I let their needs come first. I didn't try and tell them what they needed. So they both stopped regular naps at 12 months old, both of them. And they're very different types of kids too. One was more hyper, the other one was just easygoing, but they both stopped napping at 12 months. So, and they have accidental naps, but not regular naps. So they just don't need it. Did you say you do coaching? Yes, I do coaching. That's all in my link above there. I do one-on-one Zoom coaching. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world. That's how I started my business, was on Skype. Remember that beep, beep, beep? And it was awful because no one knew how to use it. So I was Skype, trying to teach parents how to Skype, and oh my God, it was just awful. And then the pandemic hit and everyone knows how to Zoom. Zoom took over. Skype really missed the boat with that, I'll tell you. I wonder if they actually own Zoom. That's why they didn't push and figure it out. But anyway, sometimes that happens. I think Coke and Pepsi, aren't they owned by the same company? There's a lot of companies where they're seemingly competition, but that drives the market even more. So, but yeah, Skype missed the boat. But I can remember, geez, that Skype was awful. I've been doing this for 17 years. Okay. Use timeouts with 3-year-old. Uh-oh. Used to help, but now escalating for more. Timeouts are horrible. I've never done them. I can't stand them. They lead to disaster, which is where you are right now. Yeah, timeouts are just mean. They're humiliating. Imagine if you did something wrong at work and your boss said, go sit in the corner, nose to wall. You think about what you just did. It's the same thing. It's the same feeling, okay? So yeah, don't use timeouts. Get rid of them. That's why it's escalating, because a lot of this, I call it the please your parents style that's out right now. And there's a million different, I don't know who teaches it. I don't know anything about it other than that's one of the things that they love is timeout. And then they talk to them about it too. And I hate both of those things. Mini therapy sessions and timeout. They backfire down the road. They're going to get you. I don't suggest hitting your kid. You only hit and yell when you don't know what else to do. Okay, so just find other things to do. That's what I teach. Okay. Okay, if you got a 3-year-old, almost 3-year-old, gets frustrated, hits himself in the face, what should we do? Yeah, don't react to that, but stop it. I always say, stop any harming or any violence or any aggression. So you never want them to hurt themselves, hurt someone else, or damage property. So you just say no and you hold his hand so he can't slap himself. And don't look at him and don't talk to him. Just say no and then hold him like that while he's tantruming. By the way, it's way harder on you than it is on them. They recover and they're fine. When it's all done, you're like this. You know, it's way harder on you. They will kick up quite the storm. It usually gets worse before it gets better because they're used to the old you giving into this stuff. Yeah, with naps. My kids stopped their own naps at 12 months old, and I went with what they needed. I didn't try and tell them what they needed. Why are you against gentle parenting? I never talk about it, ever. Co-regulating feelings. I never talk about it. Why on earth would I do that? I don't critique other people. I don't critique other methods. I critique exercises that are done, things that are done, but I don't know who teaches them. Yeah, you must be new here. I don't do that. Co-regulating feelings and that. I think you're in the wrong place. You're never going to like me. So, should probably move on. And we're all different. Okay, it's okay. Okay. Did you ever find that ignoring tantrums didn't work? Not once, not ever in 51 years. Not once, not ever. Unless they're an abused child or if they're tired or hungry, you got to assess their needs first. Are they tired? Are they hungry? Are they tantruming because they're sick? Or really tired or really hungry? But even that, if they're really tired and hungry, I still ignore the tantrum, but then I make sure they get to bed, or I make sure I feed them, or I make sure I give them medicine or take them to the doctor. But I'm just talking about healthy kids who throw a fit because they didn't get their own way. Not once has that ever not worked, not once ever. In the moment, it's horrendous, but down the road, you're minimizing the duration, frequency, and intensity of tantrums, and they eventually just disappear. I started all this, I was 11 and I started volunteering in daycare centers. And they used to ask me, the kids love you, but they respect you. They do whatever you say. And I didn't know how to answer that. I had no clue. And now I know. That's why I teach it. I was a leader. I was a fun leader. But it's like being a sports coach. You're fun. The kids look up to you like a mentor, but you have rules. Hey, look, you got to run around all 3 bases before you get home. You know what I mean? Like there's rules and you know how to enforce them. Hey, you cheated, sit on the bench for an inning. But the kids look up to you. They want to please you. That was sort of the best relationship I can compare to my style of parenting. I call it calm leadership, but it's only calm when you're disciplining. The rest of the time I was crazy. Very much so. I should call it crazy and calm leadership, shouldn't I? Because it is both. It's you get a lot of respect by entering their world and being fun too. They want that. They love that. They look up to you because of that. They love it. But they also knew, hey, if I step a toe out of line, she knows how to take care of business. So they just don't. They don't disrespect you. They never talk back. They never say they hate you. It's just leadership. It's leadership, but it's done through giving respect. Plus, if I made a mistake, boy, I'm accountable. Oops, sorry about that. How about, what do you want me to do? Okay, I have to hop on one foot for a minute, or, when I was working with kids, stuff like that. So I was very quick to discipline myself too. Got to be accountable. Yeah, all kids are different. Some kids need naps till they're 4 years old. Another kid, they're all different. There's not one absolute solution for every single kid. I have two kids. I was going to say two different kids. Obviously, I have two kids, but they were different. My son, I was a horrendous tease with. He was terrified to open up the pantry door in case mom dove out and scared the bejeebies out of him. I used to hide under his bed and grab his ankles when he went past. He grew up and it was payback time. And I could never complain because I tortured him when he was a kid. He loved it. I love that kind of stuff. I love it. My daughter hated it. Never did it to her. So they're all different, right? I was crazy with her too, but he was a bit more like me that way. We love all that kind of physical, teasing kind of stuff. So yeah, but when he got older and teenager especially, it was payback time. And I could never complain. No matter how much I could wet myself, he'd scare me so bad, but I couldn't complain about it because I did it to him. But I was different with her because she didn't like it. If a child is having a tantrum, you have stuff to do you go off and do it? Sort of, but make it look like, I better go do that. Like you don't go on, you don't just take off. Like you kind of look like you're just going about, you can step over them even. Look like you're just going about your day. I always say it's best if you're just sort of there, but you can be doing the dishes or, but don't look at screens because I just think that's kind of dismissive. Don't look at screens. You're just going about your day, doing, so yeah, but make it slow. Like don't just run away from them. Good question though. I'm going to probably make that a video. Oh, well, it's too much to write down. Too lazy. Is there a difference between meltdowns and tantrums? They're all the same. I call them scenes, fits, meltdowns, tantrums, conniptions, whatever. Don't get caught up in the words. Doesn't matter. You know what a tantrum is when you see one. They are, it's when they lose their nut. They're just out of it. What to do when a 4-year-old tells you she hates you? That's on you. They don't do that unless you're not a leader. If you've got respect, they would never say that to you, ever. Like my kids never said anything like that to me. When you're a leader, they don't talk like that. So their behavior is 100% a direct result of your parenting. Their basic personality, their basic nature, they're born with. But their behavior, their words, their behavior is a direct result of your parenting. So if a kid said that to me, I'd go, this is what I'd do. I'd go, what am I missing here? What am I doing wrong? So that's your leadership. That's on you. Okay. So work on your leadership skills. That's all I teach. I have a course up there for that. You can hire me for coaching. My free behavior board is just a tiny part of all this, but it's a good start. It's free. So it's a good start. Okay. Do you ever take away things as punishment? No play park tomorrow if you do this or that. Sort of, but not just like that. No, I don't threaten like that. No, I don't want to go on about it because it's a big picture. It would take me about an hour to explain exactly how you would do that. And I don't do it with everybody. It depends. Like sometimes I'll get a client and nothing's working with this one little kid who's like this. I don't care. Throw all your best at me. I don't care. So then, but I don't threaten with it. It's done it's hard to explain and I don't want to go into it right now. It's sort of next level, but I got to figure out what kind of parent you are. I only use that in coaching usually because I have to explain how you do it. I have to figure out if it's appropriate for you. I don't do it with everybody. And it's done not like that. Okay. I'm going to write something down. This will be good for my bedtimes battle course, which I keep saying I'm going to get done and I never do. It's so bad. Anyway, the bedtime battles. 3 months. You've been trying to get your 3-year-old to bed for a whole month now, and they'll stay in bed. This is basically how it's done. Put them to bed and you say, good night, stay in bed, love you, see you in the morning. You leave the room. The first time they get out of bed, you say, I said it's bedtime. Put them back in bed. The second time they get out, you say one word, bedtime. Put them back in bed. Every time after that, you don't say anything. You don't look at them. You very slowly and methodically pick them up, put them back in bed. If they're kicking and screaming, only one body part has to touch the mattress. Then you slowly walk away. Try to prevent them from getting out that door, or else it just becomes a chase. So then grab them when they try to get out the door, put them back. You might have to do that 100 times or more. It's usually one night of sheer hell, and then they never get up again. That's usually what you're aiming for. The worse that night is, the less likely they are to ever get out of bed again. They just learn, oh, wait, I see. It's just something happens in their brain. They just go, there's no point in doing that anymore. It's saying things like, if you tidy up, we can play a game, bribery. My daughters too. I don't do it like that. So, yeah, I don't do it like that. I don't know how to answer that because it's just not the way I do it. But you want a 2-year-old to clean up. For one thing, I have a toy rotation system, so there's hardly any toys. I would say if we're going out, they want to watch something. Next time they want to do something, I would say, okay, as soon as you get your toys put away. So I don't bribe so much as when they want to do something. Like a good example of that is if my kids had not done their chores, they just forgot, and they hadn't done their chores yet, and they said, oh, can we watch TV? I say, sure, as soon as you've done your chores. Or are your chores done? Oh, sorry, Mom. Then run and do them. And so it's more an incentive rather than a bribe, if that makes any sense. It's not like you say, if you do that, then we'll do that. It's like, sure, you can have this. Let's put your toys away first. Then you can have it. That's how it's done. You think about how teachers run a classroom. Okay, we're going to go out and play. Let's get everything sorted out first. Teacher doesn't just say, get everything sorted out. We're going to go out and play. It's just the way it's worded and the way it's handled. But they're 2. Don't expect too much from a 2-year-old. I talk about that all the time. To expect a 2-year-old to clean up is almost kind of unreasonable. How do you make your child feel engaged with you when you're having a bad day, tired, overextended? Whenever parents ask me, how do I make this easier on me? I don't know what to say to you. It's like dieting. It is just going to be hard. But once you get respect, then maintaining it is a piece of cake. So it is hard work, but it's like dieting. How do I make dieting easy? I don't know. It's really difficult. It's really difficult to get respect so that you can have a bad day and it's no big deal. Once you've got respect, maintaining it is a piece of cake. Getting it is hard work. So I don't know how to make it easier for you. I don't know how to make dieting easier. I don't know how to help you get to the gym and make that easier for you either. At some point, you just got to work for it. Work for your leadership skills. Once you've got that, everything else kind of falls into place. It's all I teach is leadership. So anyway, you can hire me for coaching, buy one of my courses, or download my free behavior board. You'll get that. Okay. The behavior board's very simple. It's a very tiny part of everything I teach. And I've never used one. It's just a teaching tool I use. It goes a lot further than that in the course. And then the coaching, of course, is one-on-one. I deal with your problems that you're having more if you're really struggling, or if some people just want one-on-one, coaching. But anyway, the course and the coaching are quite close together in results. Depends on where you're at. If you're just kind of struggling with certain things, you're going to get the same results with that course. If you're going through crisis work with your kids, something a lot more difficult, you're going through marital difficulties, then you want coaching. But the behavior board, you're going to get the least results with that, but you're still going to get some. Generally. I live downtown, sorry. Okay. Bad for a 2-year-old to sleep with us nightly. I don't have any opinion on co-sleeping or homeschooling or religion, or that's all up to you. If you like it, then that's fine. The only warning I ever have with co-sleeping is when you've got a baby and you're worried about rolling over on them. My daughter was, I think, 8 months old when we said she co-slept with us for like 8 months. I didn't like it, but she was just such a cuddly. She just wanted to be right here all the time, in your neck all the time. So I gave into that and didn't have good sleeps for about 8 months. We'd sort of transfer her over here. I want a good hour. You take her for an hour. And then we'd sort of half sleep for an hour each. It wasn't easy, but that was just, they're all different. Do I recommend doing that? No. I did it because I like to give in to babies. If they want to be cuddled, I want to cuddle them. So if they cry, I pick them up. I give in to babies completely. I'm going to start saying as soon as. I've actually done a lot of videos on that, the as soon as method, how you get them to want to do what you want them to do without asking them to do it. That's the as soon as method. Oh, we're going to go to the park. Great. Okay, just as soon as you cleaned up all your toys, we'll head out. See, I never really told my kids what to do. That's what I used to say. Sure, as soon as you put your laundry away, then we'll head out. Oh, okay, here. And they'd run and do it. They'd race to do their chores. Yeah, I talk about this, comes up all the time. 18-month-old throws themselves back. They all do that. So they throw themselves back during a tantrum. Just hold on to them. Don't let them do that. You're still not looking at them or talking to them. You restrain them from harm. You restrain them when they're going to harm themselves, harm someone else, or damage property. They all do that. If they're going to have a tantrum, they all do stuff like that. How to deal with clingy 10-month-old? Yeah, just start them playing in put them somewhere where you've got everything sort of stacked up different looking, and then walk away and then show them how it's done. So that's what I did with my kids all the time. They always want to be around you. God, I could never go to the bathroom alone. What is it? Do you know why they always want to be in the bathroom with you? Because you're trapped and they know it. You can't get away. So that's why they've got you. So I don't remember ever having a shower without my daughter, especially. She would just be like toddling, and she'd just be like this, looking at me with her hands on the glass, just staring at me. What age do you start ignoring tantrums? You kind of always do, but you're diverting at the same time. With 16 months and under, they're still kind of babies. So they start having a tantrum, and then you just ignore them, but you might go and read one of their books out loud on a couch. Oh, and then the little horsey went down there. Ooh, and don't look at them. Do not look at them. If you do, they'll just get worse. So you're just reading. Next thing you know, they've stopped tantruming. They crawled up in your lap and you're reading together. So you're still ignoring the tantrum, but you're kind of using diversion, but not really. I hate diversion. This is what I hate about diversion. It's like, if you stop doing that bad thing, you can have some candy. That's the kind of diversion I hate. This is sort of just redirecting, giving them something else to do. But yeah, you're still not talking to them or looking at them. You're just reading a book out loud, reading their book out loud. How to deal with a 6-year-old hitting and spitting in my face. That's a learned behavior. You got to set your leadership skills up. That's all that says to me. Lack of respect. You're not commanding respect. So you got to learn. That's all I teach. I teach you how to be a leader, and they would never do that. So remember, their behavior is 100% on you. So parents always want to fix their kids. Nothing to do with them. I teach you. So yeah, that's just a tell. That's a reaction to your parenting. So work on your leadership skills. That's all I teach here. Leadership skills. I teach parenting. I don't teach kidding. Kids never need fixing. They're just reacting to your parenting or lack of leadership parenting. So yeah, that's all that is. That's attitude. It's sort of, my kids don't respect me. What's wrong with them? No, what's wrong with you? Parents are very quick to blame their kids, but not themselves. I find that fascinating. Like, I would always blame myself before my kids, no matter what. Like, they do something, I'm like, what am I missing here? What did I miss? What am I doing wrong? Because I'm a leader. I am their leader. I'm their parent. I'm their leader. If they do something wrong, that's on me. That's my fault. I always look at it that way. When I was working with kids, no matter what, it's on me. So take the blame and fix it. Fix yourself. Does that make sense? I did years and years ago, I used to have a column in the local, it was called The Province here in BC, big newspaper, and I was the weekly parenting expert in the column. So I wrote this thing and I said something like that. Oh, if your kids are great, it's all your fault. If your kids are rotten, it's all your fault. No, if your kids are rotten, it's all your fault. If your kids are great, it's all your fault, or something like that. Oh, parents hated that. So they're quite quick to take the credit when their kids are good, but not when their kids are bad. Like, it was really fascinating to me. I thought, talk about putting yourself before your kids. Like, I thought that was really interesting. So yeah, it told me a lot about my audience, and I had to change my vernacular, but now I'm back to where I was. So anyway, but yeah, it's fascinating. And that was the good news, because if they're like, what I mean is, if they're good, I take the credit too. I take the blame and the credit. Everyone used to say, oh my God, your kids are so great, and I think, thank you. Oh, that's funny. So yeah, work on yourself. It's all about you. Isn't that good news? You can only control yourself anyway. Why would you try and control someone else? It doesn't make any sense. You lead, they will follow. You can only control yourself, not your children. They control them. You don't want to control them. You want them to be self-disciplined, right? You don't want obedient little soldiers. That's ridiculous. You want problem-solving, independent, proud, high self-esteem kids who have a voice. And when you're a good leader, that's what you get. How do you get your toddler to walk in public when they drop to the ground? I've already addressed that one. That is, my kids were always in a stroller or in a shopping cart when they were toddlers. So you might just have to pick them up. You're expecting too much from them. Like if we were somewhere, always had that stroller I call it was an umbrella stroller, like it was really lightweight. And I took that thing everywhere. I think they were 17 before I gave that up. I just love that thing. Like and they knew if that was with us, if they weren't going to walk, they knew they were going to go in that stroller. So once they were of a certain age, like 3, I think maybe even almost 4, they were in that for a very long time. Anytime we had to get somewhere, they were in that. Okay, you said pumpkin jack. Yes, I'm doing something wrong and I don't know what it is. I need to find. Well, if you want my help, you can hire me for that. It doesn't take me long to figure it out. And if you're going to hire me, do not hold back. Tell me exactly what you're doing, because sometimes parents are too embarrassed. They say, "Well, I don't want to admit what I'm doing." Why would you not tell me? You hire me, you spend all that money, hire me to find that. I need to know what you're doing. I can usually figure it out though pretty quick. Um, Like oftentimes I'll guess before the parents even tell me. I'll go, "How did you know?" I've been doing this for a very long time. Address it, fix it. That's it. You got to address it first. You got to own it. Say, "Yeah, I've been messing up. It's all me. Here's what I've been doing wrong." Then we laugh at it. We say, "Okay, here's what you do instead." I'm solution based. I don't like to discuss what you were doing wrong. Yeah, that was wrong. So what? Who cares? Let's fix it now. It's like if you go to Weight Watchers, you don't want to discuss how you got fat. You want to talk about how you want to lose weight, right? Why would they talk? Oh, tell me everything you ate to get your weight. Why would you do that? Let's be solution based here. Okay. How do you decide on consequences? Well, I have my own systems, but if you look in the behavior board, that's completely free. There are some ideas in there. I'll give you some ideas for different ages and that. At bedtime, start saying, "I'm hungry, I'm trusty, I can't sleep. How to best address this?" Whatever. Go to bed hungry, go to bed thirsty. Like, I don't care. Like, you mean, in other words, how do I address their manipulation? Just say, whatever. I don't address it. I can't be manipulated. I have never heard of a child starving overnight because they said they were hungry at bedtime. Maybe, I mean, I'm not a doctor. Maybe I'm wrong. I've just never heard of it. So yeah, if I know that they'd been fed and they'd had a drink 90 minutes before, I wouldn't let them drink anything. Maybe a sip after they brush their teeth or something. But yeah, and if I'm thirsty, oh well, you'll get a drink in the morning. I'd only say that once though. I'm thirsty. Good night. It's just, I can't be manipulated at all. My kids were easy because I got respect when they were tiny, but sometimes they'd have friends over if their parents weren't around. But if I was in charge of other kids and they would try and manipulate me or something, my kids would just love it. They'd just be like this. Because I love the show. Mom knew how to take care of business. And the funny thing is, once you get that leadership cemented, kids want to please you. They're all over you. They love this. They love a leader. Children naturally are drawn to a leader. You also become the Pied Piper. You become the house that kids want to go to because you are a leader. So leaders aren't mean. They're actually kind. Leading children is kindness. Not leading them is not kind because they desperately need, crave, and want a leader. If you don't lead them, someone else will. Okay? Children without leaders at home are more susceptible down the road to bullying, peer pressure, the drug dealer on the corner, the internet, the Kardashians. They're much more impressionable by other people because they don't have a leader. They're lost. They're looking for it somewhere else. So you do it. Yeah, leading children is kindness. Think about it. They desperately need a leader. If you're not going to do that for them, they are lost. That's when they tend to be emotionally unregulated. And it's the pleaser parent is not a leader at all. The pleaser parent is the one that's the real trend out right now. They're the ones who raise self-entitled young adults with low self-esteem who are snowflakes and they have mental health issues because they were raised without a leader. The authority style parent, I don't do that either, but that's a leader still. It's not quite the same as what I do, but they're still leading children. They're just bossy about it. I don't do that either. But anyway, that is better. If you're going to err on either side, either extreme, the old-fashioned authority is the way to go. This trend out right now with the pleaser parent stuff, a disaster. I predicted this years ago when it first started coming out. Oh my God. It came out along with the participation awards, discussing all the big feelings, trying to make your kids happy all the time, trying to get in with the nice teachers, trying to protect them from everything. And it's a disaster. They're completely lost. More on how to be a good leader. That's all I talk about here. That's it. You can get my behavior board. It teaches you how to give respect to get it because you're on there too. That's why it's different. I invented that 16 years ago. I haven't changed it in 16 years. You can buy one of my courses. There's a whole 5-week course on how to get respect in 5 weeks. And then also you can hire me for coaching if you want. That's just the next level up. There's all this, I know this is really controversial, but you know me, I'm not afraid of that stuff. I have no fear of being controversial. All the stuff, all the woke stuff that's out right now is a byproduct of pleaser parenting. Yeah, I know that's a very controversial statement, and I have a lot to back it up with, but I kind of saw that coming. And yeah, okay. What do you think of the Montessori way of parenting? Now, you've asked me about a specific name of a method, and I'm not going to talk about it because I'm not going to critique any other methods. I don't do that. So I would think that would be kind of trashy of me to do that. But when I talk about pleaser parent, there's a whole bunch of stuff that comes under that, I'm guessing. Okay, it's not one particular thing. There's a whole bunch of, it's just a style that is out right now. Please your kids. We don't want them to be unhappy. They are unhappy if they don't have a leader. Their self-esteem's in the toilet. Their emotions are unregulated. If you're a leader, organically, their emotions are regulated. They have confidence, high self-esteem. They're problem solvers. They're self-disciplined. That's what you're doing. And you're raising kids with fortitude, with strength. They're less likely to be self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues. So you want to raise strong individuals who can think for themselves. But you're there for backup. They always have you in the background. You're always there. They'll tell you everything. They're going to unload on you. They're going to tell you everything. I told my mom, someone said, oh, no way, that's, someone said this last year when I was on here. They've all abandoned ship because they realize they can't bully me. But they said, nope, that's absolutely ridiculous. Kids never tell their parents everything. I told my mom everything. And I know my kids have told me everything. So it works. You're a safe place to land. When you're a leader, you're a safe place to land. If my kids had ever done anything stupid, or they did little things, but nothing big, but if they did little stupid things, I'd say, yeah, I say it like it is. Yeah, that was stupid. Wait to hear what I did when I was your age. So it's okay to make mistakes. We're not going for perfection here. Yeah, it's okay to make mistakes. The road to success is paved with failures. If you're not failing in life, you're not trying hard enough. You're not pushing yourself. You're not learning. You're not growing. So don't be critical of your children for making mistakes because you made them too. And how did you feel when you were criticized for making mistakes? Treat them as a learning, like an opportunity to learn. Self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues. Middle-Anna, I'm exaggerating, but that's what I see, definitely. The pleaser parent style is more likely to raise self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues. You didn't validate all my feelings. Well, I'm just a bus driver, lady. Like, they're just so self-entitled. It's unbelievable. So precious. So don't look at me the wrong way. Oh my God, you used the wrong pronoun. Oh my, it's all this. They're so, they just need attention for all the wrong reasons. It's just so, ugh, can't you just laugh it off? Like, big deal. By the way, what people ask me what my pronoun is, you know what I say now? It's who. Can you go talk to who? Who? Yeah, that's right. Who? Not that I'm anti-pronoun, but I don't choose to join that movement. It just doesn't do anything for me. I think it's kind of ridiculous from my perspective. But yeah, isn't that a good one? No, really, what is it? Yeah, it's who. You should see the conversations around that one. It's a good one. Okay. Probably people jumping ship now, and that's okay with me. You're never going to like me if you didn't get that was meant to be funny. Okay. And same with the name of my company. I named it Bratbusters because I had this woman in this group that they were doing, and we were all discussing. It was one of those groups where you throw out your business ideas, and then everyone critiques it. Because I was just starting my business, and I threw Bratbusters out there because one of the troubled teens I used to work with said you're always busting brats. So I thought, what a great name for a company. And because I thought, I don't want anyone working with me that doesn't have a sense of humor either. So I just thought it was funny. Anyway, this one woman in this group of 20 had a needle up her butt like you wouldn't believe. One of those prissy little judgmental. She hated me. And I was the popular one in the group. I was funny, and she just hated me. Anyway, so we're putting it, and she goes, Bratbusters. I would never listen to anyone who called their company that. Bratbusters it is. She was the one who decided that's the perfect name because I'm getting rid of the needles up the butt people. You got to laugh at yourself. Life is funny. Okay. Leadership is a safe spot. Absolutely. It's a safe place to land. Because I remember when I would tell my mom something, I never worried about what she was going to say because I always knew that she understand that we all make mistakes, and she loved me unconditionally, and she wasn't going to lecture me. Never told me what to do. I never told my kids what to do. So you listen to show understanding and empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with. That's what makes you a safe place to land. I think who's a good one, isn't it? Am I the only one that laughed at you obviously laughed at that too. I think it's brilliant. You should see people. They're just like, no, really, it's who. I like to poke the bear. Okay. My 20-month-old freaks out if I try to leave him at daycare. How can I help him? Do the dump and run. You say, I'll see you later, and then run. You just got to do it like that. Pulling off a Band-Aid. Don't stretch it out. And don't say, I'm going now. Just say, I will see you later. Talk about when you're going to be back. They're too young to understand anyway. I'll see you later. I'll pick you up later. You're going to get in the car later, and then go. Just go. Go cry in the parking lot. I did that. I'm like, okay, you're fine. I'll see you later. Goodbye. I get in the car sobbing. So yeah, I've done it. Did you use these methods with your kids? Of course I did. Yes, I did. How are they today? Well, they're 33 and 28, and they're good kids. I don't talk about them now because I talk about them when they were growing up. I protect their privacy now because they don't choose to be online. So yeah, they're great. They're both very hardworking, and yeah. And my son is 33. He's expecting his first child soon. So yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I just don't talk about them as adults, as you'll notice. Because I choose to be on social media. They don't. But I talk about them a lot growing up. I would say, they both said they're going to try and parent the way I did. There you go. They were just happy kids, and there was no confrontations. It was just kind of easy. A lot of laughter in the house, tons and tons of fun. But it was just kind of easy. Well, okay. My mom, I'm not a dietitian or a nutritionist or a doctor, so it's a little bit awkward, but I'll tell you what I did, okay? My mom really pushed food on me to fatten me up. How do I not let that happen to my kids around her? Well, you say to her, these are my kids. Please don't undermine my parenting. It makes me feel bad. What can she say to that? Her actions are making you feel bad. What can she say? And there's not much more you can say around that. Like, what I mean is, If she's not going to listen to that, she's not going to listen to anything else. If she's hurting your feelings, if that doesn't wake her up, nothing will. Does that make sense? Don't try and talk about health, nutrition. When I said, I'll tell you what I did didn't have to deal with any of that. No one ever told me how to parent. They knew better. So no one ever gave me any parenting advice ever. And my mom wasn't like, she was more like me. She would never have said anything like that. And plus, I would never say that to my kids. It's none of my business how they parent. None of my business. But I'll tell you what I did with my kids. Now I'm gluten-free health food vegan. So I'm really strict with food and health and all that stuff. But back in the day, I wasn't as strict with kids. It's harder. And so I only had healthy food in the house. That was it. So the reason I'm telling you this, there is a method here. So they had a choice. You can have this healthy food or that healthy food. We never had junk in the house at all. And I made everything from scratch. What happened was when they went out and other people gave them garbage, they would often turn it down. So they grew up with such healthy food. When they were teenagers, they ate all the crap. All teenagers do. I did it. But yeah, they ate all the crap as teenagers, but then they kind of came back more into healthy stuff. My daughter's a holistic nutritionist. She doesn't use that degree, but she's like me. We're very into health and work out every day and all that stuff. So yeah, you just expose them to nothing but healthy food and you can override what the mother's doing. See what I mean? Yeah. Do you believe in Nick? I don't know who that is. If you're asking me about other parenting people, I've never looked at anyone else. I have no idea. I stay in my lane. I'm all experience-based. Kids taught me everything I know about kids. I went right to the source, and it's just nothing but experience. I've never read a book on children or parenting, or I don't know what anyone else is teaching. The only reason I know some of the stupid things that are being done is my clients tell me, and then we have to erase that stuff. We have to fix it. That's the only reason I know any of this. And plus your questions tell me a lot too. Like all this discussing big feelings and big emotions with toddlers. It's garbage. People ask me, they don't ask me that anymore because people who know me, I've been on here for a while now, they've abandoned ship. Or they will hire me later when everything backfires. I get that too. I actually had someone who hired me and they said that they were one of the ones criticizing me on here. And then they realized it all started backfiring, so they hired me. Do you travel to other states? I'm in Canada and I don't travel because not for work. Because I do this. And I would if someone offered me enough money to make it worth if I was going to do some public speaking, but no one's offered me enough money to make it worth my while to do that. Maybe one day. Okay. Oh, I have been on, I'm going to tell you this is quite funny. It's happened a few times, but one time was unbelievable. Someone, I won't say what country, but it was a very foreign land. And a land that has a lot of money in it. And they offered me an unbelievable amount of money to go out there for a whole month and live with their family and train them all how to do all this. I mean, it was enough money to support me and my kids, probably my grandkids too. It was an unbelievable amount of money because they kept upping it. And I couldn't do that. Like it just, but I said no, and anyway, didn't work out. I wouldn't do that. But yeah. I guess if you've got that much money, to them it was probably like $100, right? But that was the only time that, I thought, whoa, that's very worth my travel, but not something I would feel right doing. It's funny. How do I teach my kids to share? You can't teach toddlers how to share because they just don't get that concept. But yeah, I don't know how old your kids are, so toddlers do not understand it. Okay, my toddler keeps putting things up their nose. What do I do? Well, my daughter did that. She did it twice. She did it with rice bubbles. What do they call it here? Rice Krispies. In Australia, they're called rice bubbles. I raised my kids in Australia. Anyway, oops, the computer was going to shut down. Anyway, I had to watch her like a hawk. If she had anything tiny enough to shove up her nose, I watched her like a hawk. Do not have button batteries in your house. If you do, you just keep those safe. Kids have been killed by button batteries. They'll shove them up their nose, they'll go down their throat, and they poison them on the inside. Literally, it can kill them. Button batteries scare the hell out of me. They're those really tiny buttons. So make sure you don't have those around. If there's any toys with those, get rid of those toys completely. And, but yeah, so button batteries scare. Anyway, she used to do this with rice bubbles. And I missed it one time. Someone called, I think, and I was on the phone, and I looked, and she had rice bubbles, and she was like, I called the doctor right away, and I said, can I come down right now? My daughter shoved a bunch of rice bubbles up her nose. And they said to me on the phone, well, just wait a minute. Sure enough, she sneezed, And all this snot and rice bubbles came flying out. But they wouldn't have killed her, but yeah, she did this. She was like, oh, oh. But yeah, that was a snotty mess. But yeah, just watch them like a hawk. And every time they go to do it, just say no and then hand feed them. They don't like being hand fed, but if they're going to shove something up their nose, I would hand feed them. Okay, you asked about fostering. I don't teach that. So, no, and it's 12 to 14-year-old. Yeah, that's a huge. You'd have to, if you've got teenage runaways, I can't answer that on TikTok. Even if you were the parents, you need to hire me, and that's 5 to 10 or more sessions because you got a lot of work to do. If you've got teenagers running away, that's a lot of work. So yeah, that's not a TikTok answer. I specialize in teenagers, so I know it's not an easy answer. Okay, actually, I have to get, it's been an hour and 10 minutes now. I have to get going. So go in my link above there. You can, there's 3 different levels of things. You can download my free behavior board. You can buy one of my courses, or you can hire me for coaching. You were a runaway teen. Yeah, that's tricky. So anyway, that's all in the link above. That's everything I've got to offer if you're interested. Otherwise, I'll be back again tomorrow. And I don't answer questions on email because I just don't have the time. So, but anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back again tomorrow. Bye now.